This is Moonshot Minute, AI, work, and the people caught in between. One story, no fluff, just what's actually happening. Episode 18, the zero evidence problem. Apollo Global Management's chief economist, Torsten Sløk, dropped a grenade into the AI layoff narrative this week. His message: there is zero evidence of job losses because of AI. Zero. That is not a hedge. That is not a maybe later. That is a flat statement from one of the most closely watched economists on Wall Street based on actual payroll data from ADP. He points to the Jevons paradox, the idea that efficiency improvements actually increase demand rather than reduce it. Cheaper AI creates more use, more infrastructure, more jobs, not fewer. Sam Altman said the same thing last week. OpenAI has been pretty wrong about some of the social consequences of AI adoption. The human part of many jobs remains difficult to replace. Here is what nobody is saying. The layoffs are real. 92,000 tech workers have been cut so far in 2026. But the narrative that AI is driving those cuts is not holding up to the data. Companies are restructuring, yes. They are reallocating capital from payroll to GPUs, yes. But the evidence that AI is actually replacing workers at scale. Apollo's chief economist says it is simply not there. What is driving the cuts is a correction. Overhiring during the pandemic, cheap money drying up, and now a massive, unprecedented capital expenditure cycle for AI infrastructure. Amazon, Meta, and Microsoft are spending hundreds of billions on data centers and chips. That money has to come from somewhere. And that spending is creating its own crisis. The Department of Energy just doubled its 2026 electricity demand forecast. Data center power consumption is spiking 5% this year alone. In the PJM grid, which covers 13 states from Illinois to Washington, D.C., the capacity market just jumped 180%. The cost, an extra $94 billion. Households and businesses are paying it through higher electric bills. Meanwhile, the Mobley versus Workday case keeps advancing. A federal court in California ruled that Workday can be sued as an agent of employers for discriminatory AI screening tools. The plaintiff is a black man over 40 with anxiety and depression. He alleges he was rejected from over 100 jobs by algorithms he never saw. The court rejected Workday's motion to dismiss the disparate impact claims. The case moves forward, and Workday is not the only target. Colorado just passed a new AI transparency law that goes into effect January 2027. It requires clear notices, adverse action explanations, and meaningful human review when AI influences hiring decisions. The guardrails are coming slowly, but they are coming. And then there is Apple. While every other big tech company is slashing headcount, Apple has laid off almost nobody. Their pandemic-era hiring increased only 20% compared to 60% at competitors. They did not overhire, so they do not need to overcorrect. That is not luck. That is discipline. And it is the exception that proves the rule. The punchline: the AI layoff narrative is collapsing under its own weight. The evidence is not there. The energy costs are spiking. The lawsuits are advancing. And the uncounted are still the ones paying the price. That is your Moonshot Minute. The uncounted are getting louder. The question is whether anyone is listening. Hosted by yours truly, L. David Oliver, founder and CEO, Moonshot Consulting. Bye for now.